Hello again. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another version of VSN Volleyball Weekly. I'm Eric Richey. As always, pleased and honored to be joined by Coach Jodee Pulizzano. Jodee, the weather outside is not frightful. It feels good, huh? A little
feels
crisp
great
in the air, huh? How about it?
And the Saints win, so we're all good.
Everybody's happy. LSU wins. It's October. That means good baseball as well. And it also means district volleyball. We've got a ton of highlights. We got great guests. We've got Jessica Chatellier from Dominican, Sarah Johnson from ED White coming up. So a lot to get to. A new Power 25. Not a lot of shaking up, but a little bit. And we'll talk about those big games from this past week as well. But let's start with the coin toss because we can't go any further until somebody serves and somebody serve receives. Coach Jodee, call it in the air.
Tails.
Here we go. It is tails. You get to make the decision, Coach. Do you want to go first? Do you want to serve? Do you want to serve receive?
I want to serve. I feel like I'm going to ace you a little bit today.
You know what? You probably could. My serve receive's been off a little bit, so go ahead. You're up. You're up.
All right. So we all know the importance of a referee, but I'm just going to remind everyone, and, my friends are going to dog me on this because I was probably one of the loudest screamers in the world. So anyway, so bear with me here. So without a ref, the game cannot be played. Any game cannot be played without a ref. Today, there is a shortage of referees. Number one reason why is verbal abuse by all of us. Most of this comes from not understanding rules or hand signals. So we're going to have a little fun this morning and we're going to do some hand signals. And I'm going to explain what the rules are.
Let's do it.
Thanks, Jason Doise, for your
suggestion.
For helping me out. Yeah, for your suggestion, of course. All right. So we all know what this is. My brother loves to do this.
Double.
Well, parents think it means piece, right?
It's a double.
But it really means double. Okay, so it's double contact. What that means is when a player touches the ball twice or somebody touches two body parts. So it might go off your head and then off your hand. Well, that's a double. A double is allowed on the first hit over. You can double any kind of way on serving, on hitting, you can double. But the second hit and the third hit, you cannot have a double. So most of the time, you'll see when the setter goes to touch the ball, they call a double. And basically what happens is when they're setting the ball, one hand is touching like more than the other hand, so it makes a spin on the ball. So a lot of referees either look to see the spin or they listen for a sound that makes it sound like a double. All right, next one. You always see the referee doing this.
Oh, I never see the ref do that.
Yeah. Parents think that means stirring the pot. Nope, it's not stirring the pot. That means that
Something
a player is
row?
out of rotation.
Means
a player is out of rotation. So a player is not in the right position before the serve. After the serve, a player can go wherever they want. A back row player can go in the front row. They can't jump and do things in the front row, but they can go wherever. So once the ball's served, everybody moves. And we all understand this because you see kids running, I only play left back, I only play right back. So when the referee does an out of rotation call, that means somebody's not in the right spot. And it happens a lot on serve receive because the setter's not behind the right person. And it basically, the person, you can't overlap the person in front of you or the person on the side of you. Very complicated. But in some games you'll see the libero in the middle the whole time and they're not out of rotation. So don't think they're out of rotation. Hopefully that'll happen. Hopefully you'll understand that when it comes to it. Okay, so the next one. You've seen this one, huh?
Isn't that the back row? Something the back row violation?
Well, the parents, it's please wash your knee pads, kids, because this is smelly. But it is a back row attack. That's correct. Back row attack. It's an attack by a back row player that occurs when the ball is above the net. Okay, so a back row player cannot go over the net and hit the ball over the net. It's called a back row attack. Usually you'll see it when the setter is back row, when the teams are on the 6-2. And what happens is the ball is too tight to the net. So the setter tries to make it playable. What happened? The ball goes over the net. So that's a back row attack. All right. This one you see all the time. Kids are always doing that.
That was a tip. That was a tip. That was a touch. The ball touched the.
Correct. It touched the block or something. But the parents think it's, man, how much more money do I have to give for club or to get in the game? But it's really
I paid my fee for the team. I paid for the travel, and now you're charging me $15 to get in. More,
exactly. Okay. Yeah. More money. Or the kid's like, hey, I need something. But no, it's really a touch. And you'll see the kids constantly calling touch.
Yes.
And basically what it is, it's meaning someone touched the ball. It could be the blocker. It could be the back row player. It could be anybody who touches it. You can tell by if the ball changes direction or if you hear it. It's hard to hear in a gym, but you can tell by the change of direction on it, and you'll be able to see it, especially if you're behind. Sometimes you can't see that, and you always look at the line judge, and they're holding their hand on top of the flag like this. That means there was a touch. Okay. And the reason why the line judges, they have a better angle at seeing it. So when you're like, well, how can a line judge make that call? That's the referee's call. The referee is very hard to see on the net if there's a touch when the game is going fast. In college now, they can do an instant replay like in football to see if there was a touch, and you get so many of those in a college match. So that is used a lot. All right. Next, a yellow card. So the referee will take a card and they'll put it up, and it's a yellow.
What's in your wallet? No.
Exactly. What's in your wallet?
That's a warning. Just like in soccer, you're warning the coach. Next one, you're out of the game, or there's a point maybe.
Correct. So basically, I like the one what's in your wallet. I had one that wasn't as good as yours, so we're going to use that one. Okay.
Thank you.
But a yellow card is a warning. Basically, you're getting out of hand. Your kid threw the ball underneath the net. A player is acting disrespectful. They might have said a curse word. The head coach is arguing all kind of calls. The assistant coach is doing this the whole time on the bench. Okay. It's basically a warning. Look, you need to calm down. So the next card you could get is a red card by itself. That means, okay, I've had enough of you. The other team's getting a point. Now, when you get two of them together, Eric, that's throwing you out the game.
Oh, you're out the game. I've never seen
that. Oh, yeah. You've never seen that? I'm going to come coach one time while you're there, okay?
How many times did that happen to you? How many career ejections?
Only in club, because it doesn't mean, it's different in club. I'll get kicked out of club, but I've never gotten kicked out of high school.
How many times do you get kicked out of a club match?
Maybe twice. It probably was with Monique and Jess as my players.
That's pretty funny. You coach literally thousands of games. So if you've only got
thousands.
It done twice,
it wasn't that many.
I don't feel so bad that I've never seen it, though. I've seen the yellow card and always like, ooh, yellow.
You bad. Yellow. But that can go to a player or a coach, or it can go to your stands. So, and it goes to the coaches. I've heard it.
I've seen it go to a bench just for assistants calling, yelling double and, all that kind of stuff. But I've never seen it go to a player. I haven't seen
Yes, it goes to a player. It can go to a player. It also can go to somebody in the stands on your side.
Ooh.
I got a yellow card for a person. Actually, I got a red card for one of my fans that was kicked out the game.
Oh,
and so it went against the players, so the other team gets a point and they get the serve. So it really does hurt your team.
Yeah,
but they were warned before, so the referees did warn them, and they were out of control. They actually got down to tell the referee something on the stand.
Okay.
All right, so two more I got. Okay. Touchdown. No, it's called a back row block. Okay, back row block. So basically what happens, that's not called much because there's not many back row players that come up to the front, but that's on the setter. So again, if the setter is just standing on the front, so it's an overpass over the net, and the setter's going up there to set, but puts their hands up, they're going to call a back row block, no matter if they touch it or not, because they're taking a spot on the court.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
And the last one, which is a great one, you see the linesmen do this, and they look really scared. You ever seen that?
He's cold. He's in his feelings.
And they have the flag in one hand. They're like,
I've never seen that.
That means it is too much pressure in here. I'm not making that call. I didn't see that.
I've seen the line judge do it when they're student line judges. I have seen that.
Right. And so what the up referee goes, if you're not sure, if you're not sure, the thumbs up. All right, which means
do it again. Play it again.
You got this. Which means everybody gets a trophy, Eric. Everybody gets a trophy. Let's go on.
Okay? There's no redos in baseball.
Exactly. So I hope that y'all understand that because it's it's important to understand the rules of the game, and the referees play a big part in our game.
They do, and they go much unappreciated sometimes, but they are not taken for granted. Without them, we literally cannot play volleyball. So good job on the serve. Time for me to serve, receive, and it's time to recognize some players that have hit some career milestones, Coach. It happened, probably over the last couple of weeks, some unbelievable milestones have been achieved. So we want to make sure that we give the recognition to those players. Let's start with Dominican and Cam Chatellier, the senior outside, recently reached 1,000 careers. She did it against Ben Franklin, and we want to congratulate her. If you remember, 3 career 1,000 kill players graduated from this team a year ago. 3. Zoe Smith, Haddad, and O'Neill Haddad, and then who was the third would have been Ann Hardwin. 3 1,000 career kills graduated. Now there's another one. I remember we did the same thing with Kate Baker with the assist, but guess what? There's a new setter in town with the milestone for Dominican, and it's Gabby Marcello, 2,000 career assist. That happened just within the last week or so. Congratulations to one of the best, if not the best setter in the state of Louisiana. We're going to see some highlights coming up of her. But, in the same category with Cam as a hitter and Gabby as a setter is what happened and what was recognized at Hannon this past week, Thursday, before the match against Country Day. There they are, Sophia Bonifay, and there is Sarah Kirsch. They also reached some unreal milestones: 1,500 career kills for Sophie, 4,000, that's right, 4,000 career assists for Sarah, who's been, both of those players obviously been starting since they were freshmen. So they've been able to accumulate tons of stats. Obviously running a 5-1, you're going to have, basically your setter should have 1,000 assists a year on a good team. And that's certainly been a good team. And man, just props to them for tremendous, tremendous honors. And one more to talk about before we head into last week's highlights. Let's go to Fountain Blue, where congratulations to Hannah Ellis for career assist number 2,000. She's a great setter, played for WD and Taylor Conaway, Richey, during the club season. Obviously gets it done for Fountain Blue. Congratulations to Hannah. Just some of the many that we have. And again, if you have somebody that's that's about to hit a milestone or hits a milestone, go ahead and let us know at VSN, Eric at varsitysportsnow.com. Email us, Coach, and because we can't get to them all. We're going to slip and miss a few. So that's my little make good of getting all of them in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I want to say this, like, people don't realize, like, the coaches are keeping these stats, which, after a hard match, you go home, and some coaches don't have huddle assists. They watch video and they take stats handwritten so that their kids can get this accolade. Because we're talking about 2,000 assists and 1,500 kills and 1,000. Think about this. If you average 10 kills a match and you play 40, that's only 400, Eric.
Yeah.
That's only
right.
400.
It's a body of work for 3 years.
Unbelievable, these records. And, I'm going to talk about Cam a little bit. Cam's goal was not to hit 1,000 kills. She wants 1,000 digs. So she's going to double digit 1,000, which is even more impressive. And that's
what Sophie Bonifay has done as well. She has reached 1,000 digs on top of those 1,500 kills.
Well, kudos to their coaches for putting it in max preps and for keeping up with their stats. There's some coaches that just don't have the time to do that.
Yeah, no, congratulations to them. And again, if you know somebody who's coming up on a milestone, career milestone, big number, let us know. We will recognize them. Hey, Coach, let's rewind. Some big matches last week on VSN. Let's start with the spotlight matchup. You were there on Tuesday. We're talking about the district opener for Newman and John Curtis. And last year it was John Curtis handing Newman its first loss. Well, not this time. Carolyn Bain, the sophomore middle, had a tremendous game.
Yeah, Caroline Bain made herself available. If you saw right there, she hit from the outside. She's a middle, but she came in and hit down the line, and Curtis had trouble defending that.
Ella Palladino is a senior that's really, really been a great leader. She drills a shot there, the overpass. Bain crushes it. I'm going to set you up with Caroline with another kill as well. And Caroline, and now look, this is the first set. And they're down at this point, but they certainly came back. And the lipstick camera really shows you that Caroline, and she's going to get a kill here as well, Coach.
Yeah, and look, she saw the court on that. The ball's overpass, and she just saw it. They're single blocking in the middle, and she's hitting the cutback, which is toward the setter and right back, which is a big hole. And she does a great job. That's something they practice, I'm sure. Actually, there's 2 up there. I'm sorry. 2 people got up there that time. But at the end of the game, as you can see, they'll start single blocking.
Yeah, and what a great swing she has. Nice little tip here from John Curtis's Amani Daniel. Gets the point right there because it's a close game in the first set, right? 23-19, but guess who's going to take over and get the next point for Newman. And again, we're going to go back to the middle. Caroline Bame's father, David, is 6'7", I believe, maybe 6'9". He's over 6'7", and you can see Caroline's over 6 foot already as a sophomore and still growing.
Yeah, and she's very good at her controlling her body, her limbs. Sometimes when you get too tall, at times during your growth spurt, it's hard, to get the timing down. And she's done a great job. I hadn't seen her since last year, and she's definitely a different player this year.
Yeah, Falavino with the roll shot to win the first set, 25-19. Again, Ella, really a great leader on this team. And there's another senior leader I want to talk about for Newman. Coach Caroline Rushing with the kill here, a quick 6-1 lead in set 2.
Yeah, Caroline is not afraid to swing. She went up and she swung hard at everything, which is very important when you're playing a team like Curtis. You got to be able to hit hard. You can't always do roll shots. And you notice she uses the block in the middle, and that's what you do.
Caroline Bame also can serve. She's one of the best servers on this team, picks up an ace here. You saw it. Newman's a good serving team.
Yes, and Caroline is tall, so when she jump serves, the ball's coming at a different angle. The float is different than if you're standing flat-footed. And she's taller, so the angle is even more. So you can see right there, it just drops on them, and they're not ready for it.
Couple of points here from John Curtis. First, it was Mortar. Then it's Smith. Ina Smith with the big game as well. She's a good-looking player in the middle as well for John Curtis.
Oh, yeah, and she's also a baby. She's a sophomore also.
It's a great swing.
She's a nice angle. I had her during club, and she did a great job then too.
25-12 set point there on a rushing kill. And so they emphatically win set 2. Set 3 was a little tighter. And again, it was rushing, starting things off with the kill to give him the lead, 14-13. And then kind of, Curtis comes back. It's very close, but in the end, it was, there's Ava Smith right there with the, I think it's Ava Smith. Is that right, Coach?
No, that's Tatum.
Tatum Smith with a good tip, the other middle to go along with Caroline Bame. And then now look at the score here, 20-18, and this is where the sophomore middle takes over. I think Bame scored the last 5 points.
Yeah, she had 13 kills. She had 13 kills, and she just was smart. She was swinging, and the right back was deep, and she just tipped it right over, as you can see. And then that time she went back to hitting. You have to change it up. Like if you're a pitcher, you can't keep on hitting the same spot because they're going to be there.
Yeah, it's almost like she has a whip of a serve or of a hit. Like, when she winds up completely, it is like lights out, like right there. See what I'm saying? Like the arm swing.
Long levers. When you're tall, you have long levers. That's why people look at your wingspan. Your arm's able to come around faster.
Well, she has D1 written all over. Look at Colleen Lorzell there. What is she saying right there with this? Like, breathe.
She's like, y'all keep having fun. That's what she's saying.
Here's the block coming up here, and Bame and Falavino right there. They get the call, but I think we get a lipstick cam replay of this, and you'll see just a double block. I mean, it's hard to get through this.
Yeah, and it's very well timed by both of them. The senior set the block great on the outside for the sophomore just to close it up and make that block.
Yeah, Bame here on match point makes it a clean sweep and emphatically gets the last 5 points of the game. That's very impressive. And there was also another very impressive sophomore that took over late in the game, and that's where we go next. Parkview Baptist and LCA, a matchup of 2 top 25 teams, power 25s, and it's Yana Times, Coach. You've seen her twice now in person. She took over in this third set.
Yeah, and this was about 3 weeks ago I saw her, and she's a totally different player now. She's out of system right here. That means the ball's way off the net, and she still puts the ball down. All right, her timing is able to get to the ball and just reach high and put the ball in play.
Big block here, and we'll get another replay of that. Take us through her as a defensive player.
Well, the biggest thing there, if you look at the score, LCA was up 23-22. And that block right there tied it up. So she's just waiting. She knows who the ball's going to. It's a single block. She takes all the balls, hands in front, and she reaches over the net and uses her abs and presses through the ball.
This play, we display her vertical ability. Look at this, Coach.
Beautiful.
hits the ball barely at the 10-foot line. I mean, how are you going to block that?
Yeah, and you go, yeah, get there to block, but she's over the blocker. She's not. I mean, if you watch this, she's way over the block. Like
It's
the
unbelievable. Like
blocker's
you
not
can't
even
dig
there.
it either. That's what I meant to say. How are you going to dig that? And then here, the powerful emotion of Yana to take over this game. But look how much fun this young lady is having playing the game of volleyball. Beautiful, beautiful display there.
Yeah, and you know what's great is at she's such a young age. Last match we watched when she was playing Hannon, she would have tipped that ball, Eric. She would have just tipped that ball over just to make it playable instead of that mindset is I'm going to put the ball away. Here, it's 24-23. She makes a mistake, it ties up, but nope, I'm going to go swing. And look, LCA has a double block on her. They were right there, but again, she goes over the block.
Yeah, just a tremendous player, and it's going to be fun watching her over the next couple of years. Parkview Baptist is going to be such a tough out in Division III. All right, let's go to Dominican St. Joe's earlier in the week. And again, Dominican just continues another dominant performance. Remember Brooke Corrette, the great libero during the Kate Baker era? This is her little sister right here. This is Bailey Corrette, and she has been making herself very valuable in this team. Great shot right there.
Yeah, a great shot just from there from the back row. Cam's a back row player. The middles go up if you watch, and she's able to put the ball away just because she's kind of hitting a nice dump over there.
Gabby Marcello, I'm going to ask Coach a little bit about this later, but that was just a beautiful left-handed dump. And then here's Tamia Williams, as if they don't have enough weapons, a great block. St. Joe's just, trying to hang in there. 25-11, there was the first set. Here's Gracie Mann, their sophomore outside with the kill. And she's going to be a good player, Coach, just a sophomore. Look at this approach.
Yeah, that's a nice swing. But the libero was not outside the middle blockers. Arm right there. She should have been standing more to the left. That was a nice shot, but she usually Dominican digs that.
That was Gabby again, heady play, 27 assists. They take set 2, 25-14. Cam, the LSU Beach commit, she finished with 16 kills, 12 digs, 4 blocks. And then here's Molly Baker kill. Laura Pipitone also finished with 17 digs. So there's your rewind from last week's game, some of the matches, the bigger matches on VSN. And that takes us to the Power 25, Coach. I know
Eric, I want to say one thing about the Dominican game. So when we first opened up, when you showed the first film, I don't know if anybody realized what the setter did, but the ball was set tight to the net. It was in the net, and she could have just let it go. But she popped it out, and Amaya Williams, is that her name? Yeah. Tamia Williams. Tamia Williams goes up and saves it. And then all of a sudden they get on a move, they get momentum. And I think that's important to understand. You might not put the ball away, but your setter is so valuable to even go after that ball. She could have let that ball go and said, oh, it's their point, but she didn't. That's what teammates do. And I want everybody to understand how important that one play was. That was, there was no kill there. There was nothing. The ball got playable, but you better the ball every time. And she did that.
Kept it alive. Very nice play from Gabby Marcello and Tamia Williams there in the onset of that first rally. All right, let's go to the Power 25, and not a lot of movement this week. Number 1 and number 2, Dominican Hannon, stay the same. Parkview Baptist goes up 1 as they beat number 18 LCA and took advantage of the St. Thomas More loss. Edie White up 2 spots after a huge win, a 4-setter at home, beating at the time the number 3 team. So Edie White goes from 6 to 4. St. Thomas More falls after that loss into the 5 spot, which bumps Mount Carmel down 1, despite a beautiful 4-set win at Slidell for the Cubs. Slidell stays the same because after that loss to Mount Carmel, they went 5-0 the rest of the week, going undefeated at the AOL tournament, beating ranked teams like Newman and Hanville. 8-9, Dutchtown and Country Day flip-flop. Same for Sam Houston and Turling's Catholic. What do you think about the top 10, Coach, this week in our Power 25?
Well, I think number 1 is going to stay number 1 the entire year. It should be interesting on Wednesday to see that match, but I think Dominican is really, really good. Now, looking at 3 through 10, they can flip at any time. St. Thomas More losing to Edie White is not a shocker. I watched both of them play. They're both very good. And when 2 good teams play, it's 5-5. If they play 10 times, one's going to win 5 times, the other's going to win the other 5. Mount Carmel has a great game against Slidell, beats them in 4, which is very impressive. And Sam Houston easily takes care of business. So I think that's your right top 10.
You got it. Turling's Catholic starts off our 11 through 25 as the Rebels go down just one. 12 through 14, coach, the same. 15, Newman moves up, basically flip-flops from 15 to 17 with John Curtis after beating John Curtis earlier in the week. Newman went 5-1 over the week. Pope is the same. John Curtis, as we said, down to 18 and 19, the same. Catholic New Iberia moves up 2 spots. Coach Gary's team went 6-0 over the week, 4-0 in the New Iberia tournament. 21 is the same. 22, Fountain Blue down 2 after losing to both Haynes and Mandeville this week. 23 and 24, St. Michael's and Hahnville, no movement there. And into the Power 25 for the second time in 3 weeks is Mandeville after, again, a 2-0 week and beating Fountain Blue to move back into the Power 25. What do you think, Coach, of the 11 through 25 positions?
Well, first of all, Ben Franklin easily took care of Hahnville at home. And that was, I mean, it really wasn't a match. North Lake Christian, I think, is very good. Again, they'll have their test this week and next week, and they'll be playing in some tournaments. It'll be interesting, the Vanderbilt and Touchdown game. I think that's going to flip-flop. I think Vanderbilt has a good shot to beat Touchdown. Newman is legit, but Ben Franklin didn't easily beat them, but they beat them on the road also. John Curtis, I just think John Curtis had a bad game. I think John Curtis will rebound and get back up there. And actually, John Curtis and Ben Franklin play this week. That'll be an interesting matchup. Haynes kind of dropped a few that I was shocked with because they're right there. And then Mandeville, perfect timing. Rachel's about to come back from maternity leave, and they're moving into the top 25 and they're getting better. And I think that's the important part of this whole month of October.
And as promised, one of the big movers and shakers this week in the Power 25 is Edie White. Let's go to Thibodaux now and join Sarah Johnson, the head coach of the Cardinals. And what an impressive week it was for Edie White. What an impressive season, Coach Johnson. Welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about that game against STM.
Oh, it was fun. It was at Edie White. We had a big crowd. We started off really high, beating them pretty badly the first set, and then they came back and whooped us the second set. But it was a dogfight after that. The next 2 sets were just back and forth. 23-25 was the third, and then the last set just about the same thing. It was a lot of defense, I can tell you that. They pick up everything. So we didn't have many shots, many kills to hit, but I had an outstanding performance by Brighton Radcliffe, as always, with 20 kills in that game. So very proud of her. And I had my 2 middles were blocking like no other. And just our defense altogether was pretty spectacular. So.
Well, Coach, I've watched it throughout the season, and your defense is incredible. What did you do differently to prepare for the St. Thomas More game?
Well, St. Thomas More, we had to really serve tough just to get them out their offense. That was the main thing. And then we kind of shifted things over a little bit, started blocking them cross court because that was where most of their hits were going. And then try to keep our block away from keep the hits away from our setters, but just trying to keep our offense going at the same time, but just constant no die. We had a big block that game, so our 2 middles stepped it up big time in that game.
So I want to follow up to that. So you said you changed to blocking angle. Did you change your defense to a rotation, or did you just change the blockers?
I just changed the blockers, kind of blocking the ball instead of just playing like a rotational defense. It was kind of like a makeshift defense for this team. So.
And you did that in the beginning of the match, or you started that as the match went on?
Oh, we did it at the beginning of the match.
Okay,
so right from the start.
So you scouted, and that's what you thought was going to win, and obviously it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
It worked.
It doesn't always work, but
good job, Coach.
Thanks.
Coach, we have some video of your team that we
Okay.
got at the Hall of Fame game. Now, I want you to talk about some of your players. I know Emery Ferret is in these highlights early on. Talk about her, and obviously Brighton Radcliffe at the outside is such a dynamic player. Olivia Bason, an unbelievable libero. Go ahead and start bragging on some of your players here as we watch about 2 minutes worth of Edie White highlights.
Perfect. All right. Well, that's me talking to him. No,
that is awesome highlight.
I love it. Yeah, Emery is a force to be reckoned with. She was very surprising as last year as a freshman. I remember when she first came out to this summer we said, oh my gosh, why did we keep her on the team? And then all of a sudden she had to take somebody's spot in the middle, and she just came out blazing. Like, I don't know where she came from, but she looked amazing. And all I have to do is tell her, look, Emery, you need to step it up. And she's going to come and deliver what you see now. So very, very proud of this girl. And all she does is smile all the time. So you can't really fuss her. Next. Go ahead.
There's Ratcliffe right there. Just keep on going for us.
Yeah. Okay. That was Brighton. Brighton is just dominant. She had 20 kills that set, and she can dig just as well as she can hit the ball. And then the one right after that was Kylie Johnson, my child. She hasn't been, freshman. Yeah, she's a freshman. She hasn't been hitting much, but she can block. She had 4 stuff blocks by herself against St. Thomas More and a ton of touches on the block. So very excited about that. That's Emery again. I want to say before that we had maybe Ava on my right side. She's been stepping it up as a blocker. Same thing with Kate Newchurch. She is not the first right side blocker, and she is just phenomenal setting up the block there. Without her, our setters probably would be destroyed.
Speaking of blocks, there's your daughter with one.
There we go.
And again, you get another kill right here. And then I think Olivia Bason does some magic as well.
Oh, I'm sure. Olivia touches everything that's in her vicinity. She doesn't let anything go. That girl just amazes me. And she didn't even know how good she is. But she is just picking up balls everywhere. And she's a good leader. So very proud of her.
And a good server. I remember she served you into the state championship when she was a freshman. And here she goes, an ace right there. But again, great all-around player. You know, let's talk a little bit about moving forward for this team. And as you prepare, you know, again, a week from today, it's one of our spotlight matchups. It's your rival, your backyard rival. You'll be in Homa taking on Vanderbilt. I mean, that's always, that's like Mount Carmel Dominican. That's that's St. Thomas More, Turlings Catholic. E.D. White Vanderbilt is a huge rival. How do you prepare your team for a rivalry game?
Ooh, this is gonna be a tough one because it's at Vanderbilt, and at Vanderbilt it's very, I shouldn't say hostile, but it's a big arena. It's very loud. Small gym, very loud. Just going in there calm and believing in themselves. That's our biggest thing this year is confidence. We have a lot of young girls, and just constantly reassuring them that they can do it, that they're good, that just continue to do what we need to do. I will prepare them for the crowd noise and everything like that. I'll try to get some music playing and try to practice a lot this week with loud noises. So things like that. But just going in there calm, just try to calm them down as much as possible, because I think that's what gets to them. They get so nervous because of the big stage. But at the end of the day, it's just another match against, our district and our rivals. But at the end of the day, they still need to go in there and play volleyball like we normally do every day.
Well, Coach, watching the Hall of Fame game, one of the things that I really love about your team, of course, is defense. But you're able to run off a transition through your middles, which is very hard to do. I mean, people watching the game goes, "Oh, that's easy." But you can watch Mount Carmel had single blocks on you all the time because they couldn't match up out of transition. What do you do in practice to get your kids ready for that? Because they're really good at that.
Thank you. We do a lot of middle transition. That's pretty much what we spend most of our practice on, getting our middles and our setters connecting. And we'll just spend the whole defensive side. You can't set anyone else but the middles. And so I think that's kind of worked to our advantage. And our middles, both of them are just tall and can grab anything that's pretty much thrown up there. So I think that helps a lot as well. And they're pretty fast.
Yeah, and it opens up your outside. It gives a single block on the outside, which you saw if you watched the Mount Carmel game just now. You saw the big holes. Those holes become because of what you're doing in the middle. So good job, Coach. Keep that up. And your daughter, you said she can only block. She's learning. But you know this. Blocking is one of the hardest parts of the game, and it's the most important part of the game.
100%.
Hitting comes later. Blocking,
that's right.
Out part of the court. That's what you need to do to be good in defense.
That's right. And that's how you get your teammates on your side, when you save them from having to hit the floor.
That's grunt work right there. That's grunt work.
I love it. I love it. Hey, what about the setting position? And obviously you had an all-state setter graduate from last year, Nana Claire. We were fortunate enough to have her as one of our assistant coaches for Emma's club this past year, her club team, 16U Rise. What have you done there? And I know, you had some different players were vying for that spot. Are you running a 5-1? Are you doing a 6-2? What has kind of shaken out from what you're trying to do with your setter position?
Yeah, we're running a 6-2. I have two sophomore setters. One that really hasn't set much at all, but she's just such a great defender that we have her back there, and she's doing a great job, Catherine Harrison. And then my other setter is Carson Bro. She was also a part of that the Rise team, the younger team.
Yes.
She was
Emery's setter. She was Emery's setter,
yes,
right?
she was Emery's setter. Yes. Yep. And so them two have a great connection. But we still have Anna Claire around. She kind of comes and steps in and helps us every now and then to help with our setters, because I'm not the best setters coach. But she comes and she helps us a lot. And just her presence around last year, they were around her last year. So that all kind of helped a little bit. Carson has a little bit more experience and she's doing great. But you can still see that they're young sometimes, but they're giving it their all. And I can't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah, Coach, you talked about confidence, like telling your kids, making sure, to build them up. Do you do anything outside of that with a sports psychologist, or yes?
Well, not a sports psychologist. We started reading this book, It Takes What It Takes. It is Russell Wilson's mental coach or whatever. So we kind of take a chapter each week and we talk about it. And that's kind of been our focus this year, really trying to get mentally tough. I coached this summer with Coach Jessica from Dominican, and she kind of has pushed me on these books and things like that. So she has helped me a lot with that. So I really appreciate that. Just kind of getting their mental toughness and just constantly just telling them, like, I believe in them and things like that, because they need to hear that.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yes.
Coach, over the last 5 years, I want to ask Coach Jodee this. So I get her on camera. Out of the last 5 years, Coach Jodee, how many times has Edie White been to the state championship game? Out of the last 5 years?
All 5, right?
4. 4 of the 5 of the year
5?
they were in the semifinals. So, Coach, you have climbed to the top of the mountain. 4 of the top 5 years, you've been right there in the state championship game where every team in Louisiana is trying to get to. Division III this year, unbelievably loaded. You knock out Hannon last year in the semifinals. Hannon's just, rock solid this year. Obviously, there's Parkview Baptist, there's Catholic New Iberia, St. Michael. Who am I forgetting? Haynes, LCA. I just keep on going. Monster team after monster team. What will it take this year for Edie White to get back to that state final game and get that state championship that you covet so much?
Oh, where do I even begin? We've got to get a lot faster. But as I told the girls from the beginning of the season, I remember talking to you about it at the Wellness Center, just taking every game one game at a time. Each week, we just have to improve. We can't look forward into what's going to happen in the future. We have to stay present of this week and focus on this week and the teams that we play this week. And then we can move on from there. Because if they start to think so much into the future, then it's going to get overwhelming. So we just really try to focus on one game at a time and just try to change something and improve on something different each game.
I like it. I like it.
Well, Coach, congratulations on a great season far, and good luck.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Good luck, Coach. We'll see you this weekend, I believe, at the Country Day tournament. I'll be there with your dad representing. And,
I love it.
And then I'll see you a week from today, Edie White and Vanderbilt, and we'll see you this week too. We're going to do a preview show of that matchup as well. So thanks so much. Congratulations on a tremendous week, and best of luck moving forward, Coach Sarah Johnson.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You got it. Time for us to take another break here on VSN Volleyball Weekly. When we return, we'll check out the VSN Volleyball live streaming schedule, and we'll also head to downtown New Orleans to bring in Dominican coach Jessica Chatellier. That's after we take this timeout.
Since 2000, Bayou Granite has grown to be Southeast Louisiana's largest fabricator of stone countertops. From precise laser measurements to state-of-the-art water jet and CNC machines, we can handle your kitchen and bath needs as well as any commercial projects. Let our expert staff design and customize the right material for your home or business. Stop by our new state-of-the-art fabrication facility and showroom today at 9622 East Main Street, or call us at 985-637-4911. And don't forget to like us on Facebook.
At Harvey Gulf International Marine, we believe in being the best, in challenging the mundane, and in continually evolving as masters of our craft. We are reliable, forward-thinking, customer-focused, and committed to protecting the environment and the health and safety of the lives that we impact. At Harvey Golf, we're committed to our people, our environment, and our performance. We're committed to unsurpassed excellence.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah!
Welcome back to VSN Volleyball Weekly. I'm Eric. She's Coach Jodee, and it's time, Coach, to look ahead at some of the awesome matchups that VSN will be broadcast live streaming this week. And, Coach, it starts today, later today, Monday. Of course, we record the show Monday morning. We've got Vanderbilt, the latest VSN affiliate, taking on Dutchtown. That's going to be a great game.
Yeah, and it's going to go down to who has ball control. Who can control the ball to get it to their big hitters.
On Tuesday, Mount Carmel tunes up for the pink game. They'll take on Chappelle, and that's always a great matchup. And then it's E.D. White and Newman, another Power 25 showdown with Newman. Two great matchups on Tuesday, Coach.
Chappelle at Mount Carmel is going to be a classic. Chappelle is getting back to getting all their players back. They've had a few injuries, a few sicknesses throughout the year, and I think they're starting to hit on all cylinders. They took a game from Franklin, so Mount Carmel do not take them lightly. E.D. White at Newman, this is going to be a classic. I think Newman is going to take it. If they play like they did against Curtis, I think there's going to be definitely a mix-up going on.
Coach, then on Wednesday, look at all these matchups. Again, quality matchups. Central Catholic, that's a good team. We haven't mentioned them in the Power 25, but they had an impressive showing in Homa at the CCA tournament. They're taking on Vanderbilt Catholic. Dominican and Mount Carmel, it doesn't get much better than that. We're going to talk to Coach Jessica Chatellier in a bit. Parkview Baptist and Episcopal, it's also the pink game for Parkview Baptist. And then St. Thomas More at Notre Dame. Coach, 4 huge matchups on Wednesday.
Well, the Central Catholic at Vanderbilt is big. So both of those teams are coached by ex-players of Assumption. So they know each other well, and that is going to be a classic right there. You know, are they going to be able to match up with their two middles, Vanderbilt, and we'll see. You know, Dominican at Mount Carmel, you got to love that game because you never know who's going to win. You could have the Dominican is the best team in the state, but Mount Carmel can beat them at any time, especially when it's a rivalry game, as Jessica talked about. Episcopal at Parkview, it's a pink game, so it will be an interesting game. And also St. Thomas More at Notre Dame. St. Thomas More dropped one to E.D. White. I think Notre Dame is in a good position to give them a run.
On Thursday, it's J.J. Wan's new team, current team against his former team. This was a matchup. Coach Ursuline beat Sacred Heart a year ago, their biggest win of the season. Again, rivalry game, throw out the records.
That's going to be a great matchup. That's always you never know who is going to win that game because it's a rivalry game. And on rivalry games, it's usually who is playing at their home gym wins. So Maggie, the coach of Ursuline, is JJ's old assistant, and JJ's assistant at Sacred Heart is Maggie's sister. So it is a friendly rivalry, and it should be a good match that we're going to cover.
And it is. Ursuline beat them a year ago. And as we said, we've shown highlights. We previewed the big games this week. And now, as promised, let's go live to Dominican, where we bring in our special guest, Jessica Chatellier, the head coach of the 3-time defending Division I state champs. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. I know it's an extremely busy week. This is the week that a lot of people circle on the calendars. If they go to one volleyball match of the year, they're going to go to that pink game with Mount Carmel and Dominican, and they get 2 chances at it. How's it going for you this week? How are preparations going for the big game on Wednesday?
Great. We're coming off of a big trip this weekend. Unfortunately for us, this is our exam week, but it can work twofold. They're studying a lot for exams, but they have half day of school. So, we'll see. But we're in the gym working hard like we do every week. And this is one of the the most fun matches for them in the year, just because it is always guaranteed to draw a huge crowd, which they love. They love having their school come out and support them, and just playing against their friends on the other side of the net is just so much fun.
So Jess, what I love about your coaching style is that you've gotten your coaching style from so many different people. Like you got your coaching style from Julie Ibieta, who you played for at UNO. So, big middle, and you were a middle. And then of course you got a little defense from me. And I love the fact that I love the fact that your kids are just, they're good in every aspect of the game. Like it's very hard to shut your team down. Like you're very balanced. I was watching some previews that we're going to be showing in a second, but I was watching how like you're coming from everywhere. Like it's not just Cam, it's not just your right sides, it's not just your middles, it's everyone. What do you do in practice to help like this commitment to getting everyone the ball?
Well, I think the biggest thing for us, and the reason why we've been successful the last few years, is because we've had great setters that can really put the ball wherever. And then second, we've just really had such a balanced attack. We've been fortunate enough to have great middles that are always available. I mean, that's one thing we push in our gym. They're always available. They're in transition. They work really hard to make sure they're up on every single ball. And we've also been able to have pin hitters that really just work well hitting out of system. So we've just really been able to have a balanced attack with those pieces. Plus, you talked about the defense. We have really had some great players on defense that just play that gritty, just relentless defense that has kept us where we can run every option.
Coach, I want to piggyback off Coach Jodee's question there, and she mentioned it a little bit. For those people that don't know, and probably a lot of us don't, you played for Coach Jodee, both club, right? And then you coached with Coach Jodee for a little bit at Franklin. Weren't you a teacher just for a short time and one of her assistants? What do you remember about that time? And what was Jodee Pulizzano like as a coach when you played for her?
So Jodee is really the person that introduced me, and I'll say, to real volleyball. I played volleyball growing up. I played at Lakeshore Playground, and when I went to high school, I went to Ridgewood, and it was a basketball school. It was no secret. That's what we did there. And I, along with Marianne Marino, who coaches at Haynes, she went in with me and asked if we could start a volleyball program at Ridgewood. And actually, my 7th grade year was the first year they had volleyball on the campus. And we were not very good, but we had a volleyball program. And after, I guess it was my sophomore year of high school, Jodee actually asked me to come and try out for, at the time it was New Orleans Express. And I came to tryouts, and the rest is history. I got to play for her for my entire high school club time. And then I was fortunate enough to sign with UNO and play, and Jodee was there to support me the whole way through there. And I was fortunate enough to get a student teaching position at Ben Franklin, and I was able to coach under Jodee while I was a student teacher, and then when I got a job at Ben Franklin. So Jodee taught me so much about the game, about culture, about really just coaching the whole kid, not just coaching volleyball. So she was a huge mentor for me as a player and in my career as a coach.
Well, thanks, Jess. You didn't need to say all that. Okay, so my question is, so most people don't realize Ridgewood was a basketball school. Like basketball, we talk about state championship basketball. And Chuck Dorvan was the coach. That was no lie, okay? And Jess, tell us tell us really what the lines were on the court and why they were the lines.
So we did not have a volleyball system in our gym. We would roll out the poles with the little wheels on them out for the net, and it kind of did the little sag in the middle, and he would put toilet paper rolls on the ends of the lines to show us where the court ended when we practiced at our school. But once once we got a little better and Jodee helped me come back and kind of show how to rotate and how to do an actual 5-1 or 6-2 with our team, we started practicing at Cleary Playground, where we actually had lines on our court and a net system that had a little tension to it. So,
And you lose in the state finals twice, right, Jess?
twice, my junior and senior year.
Yep.
And I hear Chuck Dorvin is doing much better after taking one to the side of the head in the Dominican St. Joe's game.
Yeah, we were concerned.
Chuck was the R1 referee and the hitter for, I don't know if you saw it, Coach Jodee, but
No, I heard about it. I've talked to Chuck about it.
You know what? We can drop some video. I'm going to go ahead and show some video of this.
Please.
Yes. Chuck takes one to the side of the head, but he's okay. That's the good news. He's okay. Yeah. And apparently the St. Joe's outside repeatedly asked if he was all right and apologized.
Yes, she did. She felt terrible.
So that was good stuff. Well, look, let's talk a little bit more about the pink game and maybe the history of it a little bit now. So for the last 5 years, maybe since 2018 is when I really became a part of it, when we did a docuseries when Ellie Holtzman was a senior at Mount Carmel. And the pink game, as you said, Coach Jessica, it is literally wall-to-wall, standing room only, both sides, both pink games, the ones at Dominican and Mount Carmel. When did it start really becoming this massive rivalry where the pink game was the game that just the people were hanging from the rafters and, the noise from nonstop from the JV all the way through the varsity game?
Well, I have to admit, when I came to Dominican in 2003, I had no idea about the rivalry between Mount Carmel and Dominican. And we played in our small gym, our old gym. And my very first experience, they had to turn people away from the gym for our Mount Carmel Dominican game. That's how long-standing this rivalry is and how much Dominican volleyball and Mount Carmel volleyball can draw a crowd. And I think in 2007, Mike Barnes got a group of us together to start doing our pink games. And we had to really figure out where we wanted to donate the money and make sure we were following everything we needed to make sure we could keep everybody happy with that. And once we discovered that and started doing the pink game with Mount Carmel, it's just amazing to see that not only can we draw that crowd for our two schools, but we can bring that together for our community. But also these girls kind of get a minute to figure out that, it's just so much bigger than them, what they can do and the crowd that they can bring in and the awareness that they can bring to breast cancer and just being able to get their friends and family involved and help other people out. It's amazing. It
is. And then we can see the pandemonium that follows after a win last year at Dominican. The same scene unfolded when Mount Carmel won earlier in the season. What's it like, Coach, as a head coach in this game, to kind of, I guess, keep your players focused when the noise is, it is literally the announcers can't hear themselves. I'm sure it's difficult for the coaches to communicate. What's it like as a coach? How do you coach your team to prepare? And once you're in that game, how do you coach during the game?
Well, I think one great thing for us, we have developed the philosophy of being more player-led during the game. So it's teaching them the right things to talk about in the huddle when they do huddle up during the game, and making sure that they're giving good information to one another, because at that point, you only get 2 timeouts per set, and they really cannot hear us on the court with that many girls in the gym screaming. So, that's a huge portion of it. And we do practice for leading up to the game. We'll put the music really loud in our gym and make them really work on communicating without using their voices, because that's pretty much the situation we're in at that point when we're playing.
So, of course, the last question I have, you're blessed to coach your kid, of course, and for her to be such a great player. But my question is, do you think Cam knows exactly, is she doing exactly what you would have done as a player? Can she feel? You know the players that know what you're thinking. Do you think she does that?
I think she is probably one of the greatest extensions of myself on the court. I've had few players in my time that I've coached that I can say I felt like they were me on the court. And she is definitely one of those few players that I've had that I feel like she knows in game. She can walk over to me and she's like, all right, am I doing everything you need me to do? Can I do this? Can I do that? And she's really just in my head. She's in the staff's head when she's on the court. And I really do feel with her leadership, she leads through her play. But what's amazing about what she does, and I know I did not do this as a player, but she definitely has a way of making everyone in the court feel calm and control. So if she can go out there and really just keep herself on that, high emotion when things are great, but keep herself level even when things aren't, I really feel it gives our team a sense of just calmness when she's out there.
Well,
Coach,
I love, I'm sorry, Eric.
It's okay,
I love
it's
the
okay.
fact that she is, that she plays like she does. And every time I watch it, I'm like, man, I mean, you were a middle, she was an outside. And, we've talked about this personally, who is better. And yes, Cam is better than you were, but you didn't have what she had in the beginning. And you became a great college player, and you're a great coach. So congrats, Coach.
Thank you.
I just wanted to piggyback off of Coach Jodee's question about coaching Cam and your daughter. At the onset of the show, we showed the milestone of the 1,000 career kills for Cam earlier in the season. I think it came in the Ben Franklin game. And then just a little bit after that, Gabby Marcello gets career assist number 2,000. I guess, again, question is twofold. Coaching your daughter, what has that meant to you? And I know Coach Jodee kind of asked you more like, is she an extension of you in the court? What has it meant to you as a mom, I guess, more than anything? And then the second question is, let's talk about Gabby Marcello, because the highlights that we also showed in the previous segment, she had 2 setter dumps where I thought I was watching Kate Baker, because she went left hand and did that dunk to the far side twice. Talk a little bit about both of those. Cam as coaching your daughter, and Gabby Marcello, who stepped right into the 2-time defending Gatorade Player of the Year spot and has been tremendous for 2 years in a row.
So just to start with being able to coach Cam, it really truly has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. Just being able to have this time with her and to see her grow just as a player, as a person, as a leader, all the things. I couldn't trade these moments for anything. The car rides to and from, just being able to go home and watch film together. And I honestly feel like this piece of our relationship has just made us so close. And we have a relationship that I can't even put into words. I'm so proud of her, for one, because it's not easy being a coach's kid. It's definitely not easy. And she has handled it with a lot of grace. And she has definitely known from the beginning that she was always going to have to work a little bit harder. And she's never complained about that. And I'm extremely proud of her. And I feel very fortunate that I've been the one that's been able to coach her through this experience. So it's just been incredible. But one thing that goes along with that, talking about Gabby, I feel like I've watched Gabby grow up as well, because Cam and Gabby have been teammates since they were 12. And I didn't coach them when they were 12, but I coached them at 13 and 14 years old. So I feel like, having my daughter on the team has made it where I have several daughters on this team, because I've watched them grow since they were so little. And seeing Gabby succeed, and she had tough shoes to fill, and she did it without hesitation. She came on that court her junior year, and she just took off. She has done amazing things in the past 2 years, and every day she takes steps and she grows and she surprises us. So I feel fortunate that I've been able to walk this whole journey with these girls all the way through high school. And like I said, I'm incredibly proud to see their growth and to see them just develop as people, because that's the one amazing thing when you coach high school. It's so rewarding because you see them come in as this little baby 12-year-old or 13-year-old, and, they don't really know who they want to be. And and they figure it out while they're here with you. And it's just amazing to be able to help them and guide them through that portion of their life.
Well put. And it's been a pleasure watching them mature on VSN, because all you've done is won state championship since you signed up with VSN. I don't know if that's coincidence or what.
Yeah.
I don't know. Every year, right?
Yeah,
Every year.
It's true.
It is. Well, look, we certainly wish you the best, and we appreciate you spending some time. I know when I asked you before the season started about a 4P, you said, Eric, we're not talking about that. We're talking about we climb, and you've climbed to a 22-1 record. What a great run. We wish you the best, continued success, and thanks for being on the show.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
You got it. All right. Time for us to take another break here on VSN Volleyball Weekly. When we return, one last take with Coach Jodee. You don't want to miss it. That's worth sticking around for on its own. We're back after this. Varsity Sports Now would like to thank the friends of VSN Volleyball, Bella Zoya Properties, and the Bernadas family, wishing former Cubs Sarah Bernadas the best of luck at TCU this year. White Sands Beach Volleyball Complex and Seegers Sandbar, Crew Volleyball Club, Louisiana South Volleyball Club, the grandparents of Mount Carmel setter Emma Richey, Jim and Terry Lynn, wishing number 4 the best of luck this season.
Before planning the big trip, you were limping thanks to a bad knee. Then you heard about Mako robotic-assisted knee replacement. It starts with a CT scan to pinpoint the problem that becomes a personalized 3D plan to guide your doctor during surgery. Mako can help lead to better outcomes, like less pain and shorter recovery times. The lifetime of a knee implant is limited, and revision surgery may be required. Individual results and recovery times vary. Risks of surgery include pain, infection, heart attack, stroke, death, and other serious risks. Ask your doctor for important safety information. To find a doctor who uses Mako, visit makocan.com.
Elevate your program's fundraising this season with Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise is the premier online fundraising platform for organizations of all sizes using innovative technology to create the easiest and most efficient system available. Raise more money in less time with a local fundraising coach who works with you every step of the way to customize the ideal fundraiser for your program. To find out more, visit verticalraise.com.
Welcome back. We're now going to go into our Max Preps Louisiana Stats leaders. All right, hitting percentage first. We got Ava Berduca with 452, and she's from Slidell. And her companion, the senior middle from Slidell, Kaya Rachel with 442. And then rounding out the top 3, Madison Broussard with 423 from Catholic High, New Iberia. With kills, Reagan Robinson from Slidell has 381. Sophie Bonifay from Archbishop Hannon has 362. And Cam Chatellier from Dominican has 308. Assist, Slidell is on the top of our list on everything. Ava Labat with assist 857. Reese Mulbert from Catholic High School, not Catholic New Iberia, has 816. And then Sarah Kirsch from Hannon has 764. And last but not least, my favorite category, digs. From Loranger, Ella Bankston with 456. From Dominican, Lauren Pipitone with 422. And last but not least, the Turlings Libero, Kenley Nanato at 373. The Max Preps Player of the Week last week was Reese Mulbert from Catholic High School with 41 digs, 77 assists, and 5 aces. And our Go Preps Player of the Week was Gabby Marcello with 2,000. She hit her 2,000 career assist and just is killing it over there at Dominican.
And good job. Reese, by the way, is Catholic High, New Iberia. I can tell you that because she's been setting for Coach Gary, and we saw her in person. She's the one with the assist, and she got that Player of the Week. So that is Catholic High, New Iberia. Yeah, you got it. So ICU, that's my first ICU, Coach. I saw you leaving out New Iberia. That's all. All right, ICU is a segment 2, Coach. You were the one that brought this up, so you go first. Who do you see this week?
Oh, there's a few. I got to see some great matches this week and read about a bunch of volleyball. So bear with me. First of all, 15 from John Curtis. Amani Daniel. During warm-ups, coach, she was hitting the ball on the 5-foot line and just put the ball away. It's their middle. From Newman, their two middles, Tatum Young and Caroline Bame. From Parkview Baptist, Yana Times, 17 kills versus LCA. Grace Alexander, the outside hitter from LCA, the senior, the basketball player with the red shoes. I mean, she goes up to swing at everything. She doesn't care what the score is. She's just a go-getter. Kate Ferris from Sacred Heart. She recorded 18 kills and 19 digs versus their win against Destrehan. And let's not forget about her companion, Gigi Gibbons, the middle from Sacred Heart, who had 17 kills. Kat Concar from Franklin, who hit her 1,000th assist this season last week. Lainey Polk from Ponchatoula had 15 kills. Christina Curtis had 36 assists from Ponchatoula this last week. Rihanna Franklin from AOL. Tylen Bell from Bell Chase, 25 kills last week in a match. Addison Lawney from Country Day, the libero. And last but not least, Gabby Landry from Chalmette had 20 kills in one of her matches. And then the last ICU, David Thibodeau STEM School out of Lafayette. They are 16-4 in Division II, and their coach is Laura Littleton. ICU.
Love it. It's going to be soon. I don't. Who didn't you see this week after all?
Can't wait next week.
That's good stuff. All right. My ICU is going to be one, just like I've done the last couple of weeks, and it's Bonneville head coach Chelsea Nunnery. Coach Chelsea not only played at Bonneville, her mother played there as well. Her daughter is a freshman that also plays for Bonneville. Want to say good job. Props to Coach Chelsea. Again, these are players with not a lot of experience at all on the volleyball scene. She's building a program from basically the ground up. And a good job for Coach Chelsea Nunnery and Bonneville, trying to keep a tradition alive, trying to keep a legacy alive. She went on to play college volleyball herself. We got a chance to see her Thursday for senior night at Mount Carmel. And ICU, Chelsea Nunnery, and that Bonneville Brewing program, we wish them nothing but the best. So we're down to one last take. And Coach Jodee, you take it.
All right. As a parent, coach, player, and anyone who watches sports, I want to remind you to savor the moment. You never know when it's going to be over. Focus your attention to the whole process, not just the game. The traditions that come with your kid's sport, the giveaways, the themes, and all of the benefits that come with seeing your kid play sports. Kudos to all the coaches that take massive amount of time to coordinate and put this on. Shout out to Parkview Baptist for giving the teachers that have impacted their lives the shirt off their back. Thank you.
That was excellent. That was what they did this past week on their shirt off the back game. It was an excellent gesture, and I'm glad you pointed that out. My one last take is a props and a thank you from VSN to Vanderbilt Catholic High School in Houma, Louisiana. They are the latest school to jump on board and partner with VSN to have their not only volleyball matches live streamed with broadcasters and multiple cameras and replays, but also all of their athletics. We're going to be doing Vanderbilt Catholic football, boys basketball, girls basketball, softball, baseball. So a huge tip of the cap to Vanderbilt Catholic. Welcome to the VSN family. So glad to have you. And I will see you later today because I'll be calling the play-by-play of their match, Vanderbilt hosting Dutchtown. So that's my one last take. Coach, tremendous job as always. Thanks so much for your effort digging and finding out not only those stats of those girls. By the way, Emma Richey, number 4 in the state in assist.
Yeah, I know.
But also doing a great job of getting those one last takes and getting those players the props that they deserve. You do a fantastic job. The show's only getting better and better. Thank you so much. Great job again.
Thank you.
For Justin Thomas, our director, I'm Eric Richey, saying so long, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at a volleyball match real soon, hopefully this week.